Hey, so I got a question for all the eldest daughters out there. When it comes to wanting more from your life or learning more about yourself, have you ever felt the sense of guilt because it goes against what your parents might want or what they expect from you? And all of a sudden, you can't tell if it kind of teeters over the line of guilt and into betrayal. Like you feel like you're betraying them, when in reality, you're not. Objectively speaking, you're not. Well, I would like to delve more into this topic because I've been kind of feeling this a little. I wouldn't say it's as extreme as it used to be, but I do want to talk about the fine line between betrayal and guilt, because recently I have, I've kind of figured a little more about myself. I'm learning more about myself and what dreams I would like to pursue. A big one is traveling and living in other countries, which is something that my parents are not very fond of, especially my mom. Which, I mean, I understand her reasoning is more of like safety concerns. She's worried as a mother. I've never done this before, and I guess a part of her is like, oh my goodness, my baby's leaving me. And I'm just like, Mom, I'll be back, I promise. But I want to get into this story or this video about betrayal and guilt. I have my laptop here for notes because I did very detailed notes. But let's get into it. Something I had to learn when I was trying to figure out this guilt and betrayal thing, or like I had to do some research about, is, let's actually figure out what does betrayal and what does guilt mean. Betrayal is when you do something that can harm someone. So it's when you break trust, faith, or loyalty. And I can understand why eldest daughters feel like they are betraying their family, because it's almost like they're losing their family's trust or like their parents' trust, even though they haven't done anything to lose their trust. It feels like you're breaking something, and it hurts your parents a lot. Like you feel like you're kind of harming them in a way, but it's not anything physical, mental. Maybe it's a little emotional, but like not anything too crazy. And as you get older, though, you kind of realize there are some things that you want to do that are different than what your parents expect or what they would like to see from you. Because, I mean, you are a living human being. You are going to have likes, dislikes, things that aren't going to be the same as your parents. In the beginning, it might be because, you are exposed to their viewpoints, their likes, their dislikes. So when that's the only thing you've ever been exposed to, you're going to be molded into that. But then, as you grow up and you start forming your own thoughts and you are exposed to different viewpoints from different people all over the world, you start having to form your own thoughts, your own opinions, your own viewpoints. And that might be a little worrisome for parents, because from what I understand, many, many good parents, they only want what's best for their kid. They don't want their kids to get hurt. They don't want their kids to go down a wrong path. They don't want them to not be able to fend for themselves. I feel they're always worried about, like, if I die and my kid has nothing, like, I can't rest easy, which, I understand. You can't really, like, you don't feel safe or content knowing that your kid isn't doing well. But this brings me to the point of enmeshment. The feeling of enmeshment is when your identity as an individual and your parents' expectations are fused, that any separation feels like abandonment, which I definitely feel that sometimes. When I feel like I'm doing something different than what my parents would like or expect, I feel this sense of, oh my goodness, I'm going to hurt them. I'm going to make them disappointed. They're going to feel like I'm betraying them, even though I'm not. It's just, it feels that way. And I'm not gonna lie, it took me quite a couple years to get past this feeling, and I'm still working on it right now. But what helped me figure out what was truly me and my identity, what was my parents' expectations, and what they would like for me, was learning more about myself. I'm gonna be honest, I feel like I didn't know anything about myself, or I didn't start to learn anything about myself until I got to college. I didn't know anything about myself for so long, and I didn't care to, because for a good majority of my life, I felt like my identity was tied to my achievements or my accomplishments in an academic setting, which it's already a heavy thing to even talk about, but I would be glad. I gladly do a video, I don't mind. But once I started university, I was introduced to different people, different backgrounds, viewpoints, and I started to have a bit more of an identity, or I started to create more of an identity for myself. Like I'm thinking back on different moments where my fashion sense was different, because for a majority of my life I would wear a uniform until I got to college. So I didn't really know what I liked, or what silhouettes look good on me, or what colors I liked, or what I feel confident in, or what I want to do with my life, what did I find fulfilling. Trying to learn more about myself, trying out new hobbies, learning new interests, watching different videos, or reading books that I wasn't particularly, something I wouldn't really gravitate towards, and try those. Like, I never really cared for commentary up until I'd say maybe mid-college, but now I love watching commentary. I'm always listening to different viewpoints about different people. I also love listening to podcasts, which I never thought I would be interested in, because in my mind it's only listening but not watching. But I love listening to podcasts, especially true crime podcasts. I love watching self-help, self-development videos. I was gonna say I liked reading self-help books, but I've tried and I didn't really like it, which, I mean, that's the whole point. Learning more about yourself. You try, you experiment, see what sticks, see what doesn't. How do you know if a decision that you make is harmful, or if it's just unfamiliar to you and your family and or parents? To start this off, I want to say that our parents are being parents for the first time. And I also want to say that by no means are my parents terrible parents. I love my parents to death. They are the best parents I could ever ask for. But since they are parents for the first time, they don't know much about you, and you are the eldest child, you are the guinea pig. They are trying to figure it out, and they're trying to do their best with you. So they're going to have a lot of expectations and high hopes, and, kind of want you to be the model child, golden child. But the way I see if a decision is harmful or not is I write down all the pros and cons about the specific decision or the specific thing that I want to do. Once I've fleshed it out, I will go to my sister, my younger sister. I always talk to her about different things, and I get an objective view from her, because what we've realized about each other is that we will give each other the hard truth, and we will not sugarcoat anything. And we will also try to help each other. Like, say the specific thing is something that we really want, we will either try to help get to that goal, or see how this could not be a good thing, and try to see from our parents' viewpoint or our parents' lens, and try to get the other person to understand it. I hope that made sense. But that is what we try to do. We try to help each other see things from an objective lens, and even try to bring in our parents' viewpoints, see how they see things. But this all goes back to what I said in the beginning of the video of how I really wanted to travel and stuff. I've always wanted to travel for either work, school, fun, family, for any reason. But my mom was always against it. And me and my sister, in the beginning we were like, okay, whatever. But as we got older, we're like, okay, no way. We really want this. We can't just stay here forever. And one thing about us is that we're not quitters. We are stubborn. And you can say that as a bad thing or a good thing. I kind of see it as a good thing. But we would always talk to our mom and explain things to her, being like, hey, this is a good opportunity for us. It's going to help us. We're learning so much. It's not like we're just going out for just fun. Because for the most part right now, we're just wanting to travel for school and work. So we would always, try to get her to see it. And this is coming from an Islamic lens, but we prayed istikhara, and once we prayed istikhara, we made the decision that we were going to go for it. And when we said that to our mom, she said, okay, like, you guys explained it to me, I understand. Obviously, I'm going to be worried. Like, I'm a mother, I'm not going to not worry. But okay, I trust you guys, and I don't want you to break that trust. And that is the one thing that I realized about parents, is that if you start off, being a good kid, and I'm not trying to say good or bad, but like, that's the one that's coming to me, like, objectively good, like, you haven't done anything to break their trust, they will trust you. They will continue to, I guess, expand the net, or like loosen their grip. And when they loosen their grip, you can ask for bigger things. And once you say you want to travel to a different country on your own, that takes a good amount of trust for them to have in you. And if they have that trust, bro, you are golden. Another thing I will say, that if you break that trust, it's extremely hard to rebuild it, because they will always reference that. No matter what, even if it's been years. And I know people say, like, forgive and forget. And I do feel like that parents, they do at some point, they will forget about it, forgive. But if it's something major and you've really hurt them, it's going to be extremely hard to get over that. And they will always use that as a reference, because they're like, can I trust you? I don't know if I can trust you, even if it's been years, because you have done something that has broken my trust. So with that, being the eldest daughter is always going to be a title that we hold, that we have to learn to adapt, and we just have to find a way to pick our battles, choose our battles, and fight to get what we want. And in my case, I am just gonna have to continuously pray, make dua, and trust in Allah that the decision I'm making is good, and if it's not good, for Him to protect me from it. Because I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what will happen if I choose a decision and who knows, maybe it's bad for me, maybe I'm not meant to have it. So with that, when it comes to choosing something different or having different viewpoint, it's not disrespectful. It's just that you are growing and learning and evolving as a human, which is normal. It's just that sometimes you need you need to help your parents see that. Help with a little, I don't know, clear up the lens a little and help them see things from your point of view. I'd also say try to see things from their point of view, because as stubborn as we are, parents are also stubborn. So they both have to give each other some leeway, some grace. That's just how we gotta play it. And with that, I urge you to think of a goal, idea, or choice that you have been avoiding because you feel a sense of guilt, or you feel like you're going to betray your family. And I want you to write down what the pros and cons of that decision is, and have someone with an unbiased view help you out. Well, that is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Give it a like, subscribe, leave a comment below with what I asked you to do, if you would like. I'm a nosy person. So, and with that, we come to the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.